I put up a poll today, and somebody asked me, what problems do I think money can solve? And the way I'm gonna break this down is I'm gonna talk about problems that I think money can solve. I'm gonna talk about controversial things that I think money can solve, but also can make worse. And then I'll talk about the things in life that I think money will actually just make worse. So starting off, we'll talk about the things that I think money can solve, the problems. So first, it's just going to be the necessities, right? So food, shelter, transportation. Money undoubtedly is going to solve those problems, right? If you don't have enough food on the table, if you have money, you don't have to worry about that. And not only do you not have to worry about that, but it gets to a certain point where you just start to live freer. You can go out to eat whenever you want. You can eat what you want, where you want, how much you want. So money undoubtedly is going to solve that problem. Second, shelter. Again, when you don't have to worry about rent, when you know your rent is going to be paid, when you can live however you want, right? When you can live in a high rise, when you can have whatever furniture you want. Like, money solves that problem. People will say you don't need money to be happy, and I agree to a certain extent, but it undoubtedly, having those necessities met is undoubtedly going to make being happy easier, because you don't have to worry about those necessities. So food, shelter, transportation. I was just looking at cars, and then I was like, I really don't need another car. My car is fine. I drive a 2021 Charger. It's running just fine. I got like 80,000 miles on it. I don't need a car. Can I afford a Porsche, older Aston Martin? Yeah, I mean, it would. I could fit it into my budget, but I don't need it. It's not a necessity. But being able to afford the kind of car that you desire to drive, not just driving something because you have to, but driving something because you want to, I think is a plus. But just being able to afford something that's going to be able to get you from point A to point B is a problem solved. A lot of people, they can't afford to have a vehicle. And I think it's not just necessarily being able to afford like a vehicle, but it's being able to afford all of these different things in tandem, right? Like, some people, they can afford a car, but they can't afford a nice place, right? Or they can afford a nice place, but they can't afford a nice car. But being able to do all these things in conjunction, like, it undoubtedly is going to make your life better. Like, I can live pretty much wherever I want to live, like a reasonable place for 23. Like, I mean, look at my background. You know what I'm saying? I can drive a sports car while also being able to afford like I can drive a luxury vehicle or a supercar. I can afford a supercar if I wanted one. While also living here, while also eating what I want. So being able to do all those things in conjunction, money definitely is going to make life better when it comes to those things. Yeah, I mean, quality of life. Yeah, and I think quality of life, it kind of plays into the things I just said, like being able to afford the things that you desire, not necessarily. And at that point, it's not even just necessities. Like, I do think that it solves that problem, you know, like not having to worry about being able to afford rent, being able to afford your car payment, being able to afford food. But the more money you have, the better your quality of life is going to be, the nicer of these things that you can afford. So I think that's what, for me, that's what money solves. Now, controversial, I would say relationships. I would say most like marital disputes, they come about because of money. And the more money you have, the more freedom you have in the relationship, the less you argue about necessities. You know, like, all right, does this activity fit into the budget? And the thing is as your quality of life increases, then the conversations become a lot of times the conversations won't necessarily change. It'll just be on a different echelon, right? It's like, okay, well, instead of does eating out, a couple times a week, does that fit into the budget? It's okay. Does that couple $1,000 purse, is that reasonable? So I mean, a lot of times these disputes will still happen, but the disputes, as your quality of life increases, the conversation with which what we're talking about typically changes as well. Now, where I would say the flip side is that I also think with money comes extra responsibility. And with extra responsibility comes time. And when you are, especially like a young man, like you have a lot less time to allocate towards those relationships. So it's like, okay, I have a lot of money, but I can't spend as much time with this person. So I think while money can make relationships better, I also think what it takes to get the money, I think can make relationships a little bit more difficult, because what a lot of people want is time. And the more money you have, typically the less time you have. And then what I would say, the thing that I would say I don't think money can't solve is more qualitative things, right? So like character flaws or relationships, like your relationship, not relationships, but your relationship with people, right? Like if you don't understand how to build relationships, like genuine relationships, I don't think money can solve that. If you don't understand how to approach people, and how to talk to people and how to build rapport, like money can't solve that. Character flaws, right? I think money makes it worse. If you're already greedy, obnoxious, like that's something that money is not going to make better. It's gonna make it worse, right? And I see it all the time, especially like I just got to Miami, and I mean, a lot of these dudes are leasing cars and they're out of their budget. They're packed into these high rises with a couple of people because it's out of their budget. And once you get money, you just continue to do that. It's just at a grander scale. So humility, I think you have to have humility before you get the money. You need to prepare yourself for the money. You have to become the person that would do well with the money before I think God will truly give you the money. And if he does, you're gonna fuck it off. And if he does, it's so you can fuck it off, so he can teach you a lesson, right? So I don't think money can solve that problem. Character flaws, like I genuinely think it will make it worse if you're not prepared for it. Like me, something that I struggle with a lot when I was younger is women, and it's something, and like lust, and I do still struggle with it some. But what I will say is the growth that I've had over, the past 3, 4, 5 years. Like if I had this amount of money when I was 20, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Like the amount of access that you have to everything increases drastically when you're making $30, $40, $50, $60,000 a month, right? Last month I cleared $50,000 at 23. When I was 20, 21, if I had that kind of money, I ain't gonna say what I'd have been doing. I'd have been tricking off, So, you got to be prepared for it. And if you have character flaws that you may not even know that you have, when you get money, it's not going to solve those character flaws, right? If you are not disciplined, and I think that starts with yourself. I think that starts with going to the gym. If you're not disciplined, money is not going to solve that. And in reality, in order to make a lot of money, unless it comes, from nepotism, like you have to develop that trait in order to make a lot of money. Unless you're getting rich quick, which that shit never lasts. That never lasts. So Yeah, so to answer your question, I think those are the problems that I think money can solve. I think as far as like long-term relationships, I think money can be a benefit, and I think I think there's pros and cons. And I also think money can make certain things worse if, I think money can make certain things worse if you don't already have those things fixed, or you haven't recognized that there are problems and you're trying to fix it before you get the money. But yeah, if you watch this long, I appreciate you for watching. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Coachshowup. If you have any fitness goals, DM me SHOWUP on Instagram. If you are trying to build or scale your online fitness business, DM me Scale. But yeah, all right, y'all have a good night.